Welcome back, everybody. I just spent $4,600 on a 1-ton dually, completely sight unseen. I had no idea about this truck's existence except for about an hour before I bought it. And well, here it is.
The muffler's cut off and there's no exhaust tip.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you need to look up underneath that one.
I have no idea how many miles are on this truck. I'm really hoping it's around the 200, 300 mark. Hopefully it's not around the 400 or 500 mark. This is a 2008 Chevy Duramax. Got the LMM 66 Duramax in it. No def, you said?
No def.
No def, heck yeah. Let's see how many miles this thing has on it. I do like the color match door handles, that's a plus. First look. I mean, doesn't look bad. It does have the work truck leather seats or vinyl, whatever that is. For some reason this seems to be popped down. My guess is they probably had something they wanted to take out that they installed. Could be nothing. Just looks like your average work truck so far.
Opposition switch for a tuner.
That's what I was thinking. That's probably why this is popped. Maybe they took it out.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's gone. Well, maybe that's actually a bad sign. Maybe it's like about to blow up. All right, here we go. This is, oh, you freaking kidding me? The battery's dead. They left the dang key on. Now the battery's dead. Fuel gauge is busted out. Someone must have got mad at fuel prices and punched it.
What's that box right there?
What box? That's I'm pretty sure it's a brake controller. There's a little rip in this seat. Is there anything in that toolbox? Bunch of garbage. The toolboxes are a plus, but they're rotting out. Doubt they left anything valuable in here. Yeah, it's locked. The wheels aren't my favorite, but at least the tires look halfway decent. It does have a ball for a gooseneck. Arkansas. Actually, these tires look kind of bald. That toolbox is completely gone. Oh, there's no bottom to that. So the exhaust, oh yeah, you got a muffler and then that's it. She just comes straight out of the muffler, I guess. I mean, I don't see anything that just screams I'm broken yet. What is this? Transmission or oil? That's the oil. Just trying to make sure it's not diesel-y. It does seem a little thin. I'll be being a little bit picky. That might be fine. LMM Duramax. I tell you what. See what the engine oil looks like. Or at least the bottom of the cap. Well, that's a good sign. I was hoping it wasn't gonna be solid white or anything. That would probably indicate a head gasket. Coolant. How much coolant does it have? Enough. Transmission fluid. Hopefully it doesn't look too dark. Although I think I'd rather replace the transmission than the engine. Oh yeah, that looks great. All right, let's go get the $2,500 truck to jump the $4,600 truck.
Y'all good now?
Yeah, we're good.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's see if we get any mileage. We've got lights. Okay. Service battery charging system. Service airbag. Engine power is reduced. Uh-oh.
Red flag.
346. That's not bad. I mean, that's not good, but
It'll get the job done.
all my other Chevy trucks have well over 350 on them, so I'm not worried about that at all. Let's see if it'll crank up. Nope, she needs to charge some more. You think that's homemade?
Yeah, that's that Walmart tent.
Yeah. This one don't have no tent on it. And 4x4 by you, babe. A gun. I'm just kidding. A CD. OnStar. I heard that's a pretty good band. Is that a radar?
There you go.
Boy, heck yeah, brother. Cops ain't getting us, boy. All right, start attempt number 2. I don't know if it's not cranking fast enough.
What's the voltage?
Close to 12. Oh, it just doesn't seem like it's cranking very fast. They said it ran fine. Yeah, it's dead.
Yeah, the girl that just left here, her
Yeah.
son drove it home the other night.
Really?
He drove back too. He said, little knob up there. He said, you turn that knob. He said, you turned all the way up, and he said, it'll squeal the tires.
Really? When I was bidding on it, the kid, I had the audio on, I was bidding on my phone, he was like, that thing will squeal the tires. I knew there was some kind of story behind that.
He wanted to keep it, but we have talked him out of that.
Yeah.
He already has like 2 other trucks.
Oh, does
so
he?
He doesn't need a fleet of them.
How old is he?
He's 15.
He's 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was helping us sell yesterday because my husband lost his voice, and so Cash was having to fill
Yeah,
in.
he's a good auctioneer.
Yeah.
So while we were waiting for the battery to charge, I went in and finalized the title with the office lady. Apparently the little auctioneer kid drove this truck home the other day and he wanted to keep it. So that makes me feel better. Give her another go, son. So allegedly the tuner does work. I need to turn it down because I actually just turned it all the way up. Here we go. Go, girl. There we go. She's idling good. It does have an engine reduced power light on. Oil pressure's at 60 pounds, which is great. Did take a little bit to start up. I don't know if maybe the injectors are a little bit questionable. Maybe even the starter's going out. It could be the batteries too. I mean, it was dead. Actually, let's test that theory. I'm gonna shut it off. And if it starts back up, it was probably the batteries. But it could also be a fuel issue. It was a little bit better. I think that's probably batteries. $4,600 Duramax is definitely makes me feel like I'm walking on ice because that's pretty cheap for this truck. Oh yeah, left blinker, it's working. Go the right, yep, it's working. Yeah, brake. They're probably all good. Hop in there and put it in reverse. Yep. Heck yeah. And the craziest part about this is the only Chevy I've ever owned with no cab corner rust. Yeah, see if the AC works. Blower motor not working. Maybe that's why they got rid of it. I have the fan turned all the way up and we're not getting anything. Could be a switch, could be a resistor, could be a fuse, could be the blower motor. Now I plan on driving this thing 40 minutes home. I gotta put insurance on it.
And do you need full coverage on this?
No, I need liability. All right, just got insurance on it. We got a 40-minute drive. We're kind of in a hurry because I got a guy coming and picking up some tires, so we gotta get home. Will this truck make it home on a 40-minute drive? I can definitely hear the fan. The fan clutch is definitely engaged right now because it is loud up there. That fan clutch might need to be replaced. Sounds like a dang semi truck. And we're off. Going good so far. Here we go. Does seem kind of slow to shift. Oh yeah, it's definitely got reduced power. We're probably gonna have to pull over. It's not shifting. See if we can put it to manual. Let's shift her to 3 manually. That's not working. Yeah, power is definitely reduced. Luckily we're going 45 and a 35, so that's not a big problem right now. Yeah, the power reduced code is definitely present because we're only able to hit about 45. I mean, I'm matting it to the floor right now and we cannot go any quicker. We're gonna have to pull over on a side road. We're starting to build up some traffic from driving so slow. We'll just pull over right here.
You wasn't spinning them tires.
My reader's not even blinking, which is weird. I wonder if they were having electrical issues. Possibly. Yeah, we're not connecting to my reader right now. Make sure there's not any wires undone under here. Mm-hmm. Let's compare it to the old 2500. Usually when you plug these in, they just, see, power right on. So obviously there's something wrong with the truck. Somebody has probably come in here and tampered with something. We just don't know what it is yet. Yeah, that shouldn't be hanging like that. Let's look at the fuses. I don't have anything to check them really, but there we go. Oh, those are pretty dirty. TCM is plugged in. These, look, this is undone. That actually may have been undone from the factory, I don't know.
Tuner's in here somewhere.
Really?
I know it plugs into that. Mine plugs into that harness.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Fellas, this truck is screaming electrical problems right now. See, sometimes these wire looms wear out on the fender liner. That's rubbed, but I can't tell. It's so freaking muddy that I can't tell if it's rubbed. That's rubbed that fender liner pretty bad though. Well, we without being able to communicate to it, we may just have to drive this thing home at 40 miles per hour. Apparently that little kid was like, she might spin the tires, but it's not gonna go over 40 miles per hour. Which they said he was only 15 anyway, so it ain't like he knew. We could try this. I don't think it's gonna work. Trying hooking the batteries and touching the cables together.
Killing it. Yeah, that's probably your best bet since it's not.
Yeah, let's try that. I'm gonna try to lay these.
Your other battery's
I
still.
forgot that other one wasn't unplugged. This is gonna be really tricky because I don't want to ground it out while I'm.
Oh yeah.
I should be a surgeon. Okay. Okay. When you disconnect the batteries, there's still power lingering around in the system. When you do this, it shorts out the electronics and de-energizes everything. Hopefully this will reset our code, but chances are there's something that's setting it off immediately. All right, here we go. Well, it wasn't doing that before. Well.
Yeah, we should have just been grateful for 40 mile per hour.
We should have just ran it how it was. Let's see if it communicates now. I'm sure it doesn't. Nothing. No, it just, she just gave up. That's crazy. Dang, that's weird. Let's see what it's showing. Service airbag. Engine power is reduced. We already knew that. Maybe this happened because I touched the battery cables together. I kind of doubt it, but maybe it did.
It's weird that it fired up and shut itself back off.
Yeah. That is really weird. And now it's not turning on at all anymore. Kind of want to disconnect the battery cables and try it again. We just disconnected the batteries again. Tried the whole de-energized thing. I probably blew something when I touched those cables together with the other battery still hooked up. But like I said, I don't have a way to check every single fuse. I gotta get back to the house. Someone's coming to buy the old tires for my wrecker, so I'm gonna have to abandon this for now. I can't believe I can't get this thing to communicate. I mean, I've had vehicles in a lot worse shape than this and I was still able to communicate with the ECM. I bet I blew like a fuel solenoid or something, most likely. Okay, well, we're gonna have to leave this here and come back later sometime. AAA, so the tow didn't really cost anything. The first thing I want to do is figure out why this truck is unhappy. The OBDII connector is not working. I don't know if it's lacking a ground or a power. So we need to get that working first. Then I can read all of the present codes on it. And that should give me a pretty good idea as to why it is acting up. First thing we're gonna do is throw 2 brand new batteries on this truck because the old batteries seemed a little bit weak even when they were fully charged. I will say these batteries seem to be really tight fits. When I was at AutoZone getting a new battery, he gave me this bigger one. I was like, man, I don't know if that's gonna fit. I barely got the small one out. Oh, there we go. Birds are really chirping today. Well, we've got power again. That's weird. It dies on me after about 5 miles of driving. It won't restart. Tow it here, throw new batteries in it, and it almost just starts right up. We really need that OBD port to work so that we can communicate with the truck and figure out why it's unhappy. With wiring this complicated, you have to have a schematic to diagnose one of these, otherwise you're just wasting your time. I downloaded a PDF file off the internet called Electrical Manual 2008 Light Duty Full Size CK Trucks. Now unfortunately this wire schematic doesn't exclusively say that this is the data link connector that we're looking at, but it has 16 pins on this connector. I'm going to count and see if this has 16 pins. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I'm pretty sure this is our OBDII connector we're looking at here. Power distribution, LTR, 20 amp, DLC battery. So that must be the power in because it's showing a fuse that points directly towards pin number 16. If pin 16 is what it says it is and everything is good, we should have power to pin 16. And I've got this test light grounded out pretty good. Oh, let me turn the key on. We have nothing at pin 16. I wonder if there's a broken wire. And then pin 4 and 5 should be a ground, so let me hook this up to something hot real quick. So we just count to 4 and 5 on the bottom row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it flipped upside down? There's not even a pin inside of there. I wonder if this connector is considered upside down to this schematic. Because if you notice, pin 16 and 14 have something going to them, and then 15 does not. Well, if this was upside down, that would make perfect sense, because this would be 16 and then this would be 14. Not sure how well you can see, but 15 doesn't have anything in it. And then if the bottom row is flipped, it would go 1 pin, 2 empty spots, and then 3 pins. Well, what do you know? 1 pin, 2 empty spots, and then 3 pins. So this is upside down. 4 and 5 would actually be these two. Boom, 4, and 5. Both of them are lighting up, which means we have good grounds for both of those. It sure would be nice if the actual connector had labels. Okay, so this is actually 16. And we're grounded out. I know we're grounded out good because this is working. We have nothing going to pin 16. None of these are hot. So because power is brought in by our LTR fuse, let's go to the engine bay, see if we have an LTR fuse in our fuse block. I'm checking this box first, but it also could be the one on the side of the dash. There's a lot of fuses on here, but I'm showing number 50 says LTR 20 amp. Number 50 right there says LTR. We go on here and we find 50. There's 54, 55. There's 50 right there. So 50 is 1 row behind the 4 big fuses. There's 4 big fuses here. There's a row, so it should be one of these. And it's showing a 20 amp fuse, but we've got a 30, a 10, and a 30. And according to this, that 30 is the LTR fuse. First, let's just see if it's blown. Okay, I'm not getting any reading. So if it's good, that green light should light up, and well, that's easy. We might just have a blown fuse. Yep, that's a blown fuse. 15, 20. Got these Chinese fuses. Good old China. 20 amp in. Okay, it's reading good, so it didn't automatically blow when we put it in. That's a good sign. Test light to what we believe is pin 16. Oh boy. Now that we've confirmed power to the OBDII, hopefully my scan tool will turn on now. Yes. Fire the scanner up. Diagnostics. We're gonna do an auto scan real quick and fault scan, and it's gonna go through and scan everything for faults. All right, here we go. Engine coolant temperature below thermostat regulating temperature. Glow plug 2 control circuit. Glow plug 3 control circuit. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I wonder if we have a bad glow plug control module. Fuel rail pressure too low. That is interesting. That might have something to do with the reason this thing died on us the other day. We'll have to look back into that one. Intake airflow control circuit, transmission fluid pressure, right front wheel speed sensor circuit open, left front speed sensor short to battery, lost communications with BCM, lost communications with ECM, battery low voltage. Well, we're gonna go ahead and delete all of these codes. We're gonna clear all of them and see which ones come back. Okay, it's all done. We have lots of faults for the glow plugs. We have glow plug 1 is showing up now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So all 8 glow plug control circuits are faulting out here. That could be an indicator of a bad control module, but we'll have to diagnose it. The right front wheel sensor circuit open. That's the wire that goes from the ABS module down to the hub and bearing assembly for the front right wheel. And then we've got stupid stuff like antenna faults, GPS circuit open. And then that's it. That's good because the only engine faults we're having is all glow plug related. I think we also got rid of the FPR code, which it could pop back up. But let's see if this thing's in limp mode. Let's fire her up. Okay. Oh wow, we just got rid of all the codes. We have a brake, ABS. Now those 2 codes are probably on because of that wheel speed sensor, because like I said, that wheel speed sensor usually goes to the ABS control module. So that's why we have an ABS and a brake light on. And if this truck was equipped with traction control, we would probably also be getting a traction control code up here. It's no longer in limp mode. Did I just get extremely lucky on a $4,600 Duramax? Clearly the charging system is working because we're showing a little bit over 14 volts. Let's take this thing on a quick spin and see how she does. It feels very powerful. We're also on the first setting on the tuner. I don't really want to turn it on right now. I just want to see how this thing runs stock, the way it's supposed to. I'm not flooring it, by the way. It's like half throttle, and wow, this thing's got plenty of power. Woo! Boy, that's a lot more get up and go than that 6.0 Vortec I'm used to. Woo! Boy. She going, look at that speedometer. And 60. Dang, son. She's healthy. She seems very healthy. I'll have to turn around here. Man, look at that Cat 416 backhoe right there. Ain't that a haul, son? There she goes. Look, there's some railroad guys. Good grief, this thing is rough. I don't know if it's because it's a 1-ton dually or if we got some suspension problems, but man, this thing is rough. And it almost feels or sounds like there's something loose in the front end, so we're gonna have to check that out. Could be anything, wore out ball joints, tie rod ends, bearings, you name it. I am now on my favorite back road for Hoonin. Let's see what this thing's got. Oh my goodness, I can feel it. I also hear either some rattling noise. Right there, hang on. Let's get back up to 1500 RPM. You hear that? That almost sounds like injector knock. Right here, right here. Oh my word. Whoo! Oh my goodness, this thing's quick. Golly, man. Let's do a little 0 to 60 test. That was probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 seconds. truck seems to be running great right now. I'm gonna drive this thing home, read a little bit of the live data now that it's all warmed up. And just as I was filming that, we just went into engine power reduced. Uh-oh. It's okay, we're pulling in now. According to my scanner, engine has been on for about an hour, 30 minutes now. Now we're back to engine power reduced. So I'm gonna turn it off and let's read the codes. So for the engine control module, it's showing all glow plug control circuit faults. And then we have electronic brake control module, and if we click on that, it is still showing right front wheel speed sensor circuit open, and then we're also showing left front wheel speed sensor short to battery. And then these two are kind of ridiculous: digital radio receiver, antenna ground circuit short to battery open, and then the second one is just a GPS sensor circuit open. So I'm going to clear these and see which ones disappear, and that should tell us which codes are faulting out and making this truck go into limp mode. So quick erase, it's going ahead and it's clearing them. All right, so a simple erase and then recheck. It got rid of the left front wheel speed sensor fault, so the right is still active. Then it got rid of 2 of the glow plug control circuit faults. It looks like it may have got rid of 3, and I'm not seeing 4 on here. So let's see if it's in limp mode. Oh, looky there, it just died. That's exactly what happened to us the other day. It almost seems to me like we lost fuel pressure, or we sucked air into the system. It started up and it shut right back off. Go ahead and read some live data. I'm wondering if we have a fuel issue. Reduced engine power, it says it's inactive. Okay, so this is what we're looking for. We want to watch and see what the fuel pressure is doing. Fuel pressure sensor showing 0. I haven't tried cranking the truck yet. Let's crank it up. And while we're doing that, we're gonna watch the fuel pressure. What in the world? Wow. According to this didn't seem to improve at all. It stayed flat. For whatever reason, it's showing 0 PSI at the fuel rail. I wonder if that's right. The desired fuel rail pressure is almost 5,700 PSI. But as you see down here, we're showing 0. So it's showing desired fuel pressure at the top. That's what it wants it to be. And then the 0 is what it actually is. That almost makes me think the sensor is like not communicating at all. There's no way it can be 0. If it was 0, we'd have a puddle of fuel in the engine bay. And if it was 0, I wonder if the ECU would detect that and wouldn't fire off the injectors because of that. It's like the ECU recognizes there's 0 fuel rail pressure, so it doesn't fire the injectors, is my guess. But we might actually have fuel pressure, which would explain why it shut off. I mean, it didn't hesitate, it just shut off. Fuel rail pressure sensor voltage, 0.49? Fuel pressure sensor is reading 0.49 volts. I mean, this is a 12 volt system. You would think it should be reading at least 12, right? Makes me wonder. If the fuel pressure sensor is bad, why are we not getting a code for it? Let me pull up some diagrams and figure out where that fuel pressure sensor is located. All right, I printed out some schematics and this is what I found. So the 0.49 volt reading that we seen earlier represents 0 pressure. In other words, when that sensor detects pressure in the fuel rail, it sends voltage through a signal wire to the ECU. 0.5 volts is the minimum that that sensor is supposed to read, which means when we're at 0.5 volts, it should be 0 pressure in the fuel rail. And that is exactly what we were reading. Anything lower than 0.5 or anything higher than 5 volts, we will get fuel rail pressure codes, which means our sensor is functioning properly. So I'm thinking 0 PSI is extremely low for that fuel rail, which means we probably have a crazy fuel leak or a crazy air leak, which is why our truck started up and turned right back off, is because it burned up all the fuel in the fuel rail. But this is what I found. So the first page I printed off from my PDF just shows where a lot of things are, and the fuel rail pressure sensor is in here. Number 4 points to a little sensor right there. It looks like it's right beside the glow plug control module, I believe that is. Next page, this is the fuel rail pressure sensor, and then it shows 3 wires going down. According to this, the fuel pressure sensor wires go straight into the ECM. So at the ECM, we have a 5 volt reference wire, we have a 5 volt signal wire, and then we have a low reference wire, which is the ground. So we could double check that sensor, but because because I've learned that 0.5 volts means 0 pressure, means that our sensor is probably fine. What we need to look for now is a fuel leak or an air leak. If we don't find anything obvious, we might as well just reprime the fuel and see what happens. That's another thing, the fuel primer bubble. Those are pretty common on those. I had a video where I worked on an Chevy Duramax, and I remember the bubble leaked really badly on that one. And it might not be leaking, it could be sucking air. Let's go take a look. Now this right here is normally the culprit. Unscrewing that bleeder there. Now I'm just gonna pump it until fuel comes out. There it is. I'm gonna pump this thing till it's rock solid. Oh, it's rock solid now. We have restored fuel pressure. Okay. Now that we don't have any air in the fuel system, let's go ahead and crank it, see if it'll start up. And while we do that, I'm gonna show you guys live data of what the sensor is reading at the fuel rail. This graph bar should climb as I'm cranking on it. And then once it starts, it should kind of plane out. Well, we're running. For some reason my graph's not working. We're reading pressure up here though. 5,500 PSI. Why is it not showing up on my graph? You can see at 5,500 PSI, we're running about 1.25 volts off the sensor. So that's the voltage that the sensor is sending to the ECU to tell the ECU what PSI we're currently running. This graph must be zoomed out or something. Yeah, it's because this graph goes all the way up to 23,000 and all we're doing is 5,600 PSI, so it's all the way at the bottom. So we have an air leak or a fuel leak that we now have to figure out. Not to mention the tires are bald, the headlights are full of water, the interior's a disaster, and the AC doesn't work. We got a lot to do. First thing that we're gonna try is to rebuild that little priming bubble. Those are the most common things to go out on these. To make the fuel components a little more accessible, I'm gonna take this air cleaner out of here. It's kind of dirty. Oh, there we go. Okay. Ooh. That fuel line does not look very good. I really don't like working on dirty stuff. Let's clean it. Ah, dadgummit. I've had that problem before. There we go. Well, it's not perfect, but it looks a lot better. I'm gonna leave the batteries disconnected for a while, make sure everything dries off properly. But we've got two rubber fuel lines here. We've got an in and an out. They look pretty rough. This one actually feels like it's about to collapse. And also, if you get close to it and squeeze it, you can see some dry rot cracks. Not just one or two. It's a lot of cracks. With the miles that this truck has on it, it would be a good idea to go ahead and just replace all of the fuel lines. Replacing these two fuel hoses right here is as simple as disconnecting them here and here with some needle noses and sticking some new fuel hoses on there. Okay. There we go. Okay, first line out. And here's those cracks I was talking about. Not sure how well you can see it on camera. Yeah, lots of bad cracks right there. There we go. So this is the return. Next thing I want to do, I think I want to remove this filter housing. I think this is an aftermarket fuel filter housing, maybe 12 or 13 millimeter looks like. 13. All right, here she comes. So here's what we've got, and I'm not really sure if this Sinister Diesel thing is an attachment that screws onto the actual housing, or if this is all one assembly made by Sinister Diesel. Anyways, we're gonna take this priming bubble off of here, and I have a reseal kit for it. Also have a new brass bleeder screw. These can go bad and suck air that way too. There's our old screw. Ah, yes. So it is just an add-on. I'm not sure what the purpose of this is. And I think you just pull this off of here. Yep. There she comes. Okay, now I'm gonna replace all these O-rings on here. Got some wiper O-rings there we need to replace. I've got this Napa resale kit. The part number is FPH110. Okay. Okay, there we go. There we go. Boy, some of these O-rings are starting to look the same, so I'm gonna take them off and lay them out. There's one here, one here. Actually, that's supposed to go on the bottom, like right here. There's also an O-ring here. I'm gonna clean up around that too. Okay, new O-ring here. New O-ring on the bottom side, much tighter fit. New brass bleeder screw is gonna get an O-ring. Fuel heater is gonna get an O-ring here. This is gonna go just like this. Oh, jeez. Make sure I didn't destroy that. Oh, no, it's in there tight, son. We continue. Okay. That brass is a lot nicer because those plastic ones always end up stripping out. So I looked it up, and this Sinister Diesel adapter looking thing is actually a Caterpillar fuel filter adapter. Caterpillar fuel filters have more filtering material in them, so people prefer them, I suppose. That means the new filter I bought won't work for it, but I did have this on the shelf. I can't remember what this is for. Well, anyways, I believe it is the exact same threads as a filter you would use on a Caterpillar. I'm gonna clean this up, and we'll put the new filter on. Oh, crap. She full. I'm gonna throw the filter and the filter housing back in here. We're about to run 2 new hoses through here, but I decided to check out this hose that's been replaced in here, and I can stick my finger in between the hose and the actual hard line that it's trying to seal. While it may be okay, I'm not okay with that. So we're gonna take this off, and if I can't find a correct diameter hose with that 90-degree angle, we may just order the original part. I can barely get to this last one, so this might be a good time to remove this. I was wanting to remove this anyways because it's full of gunk inside of it. There's water coming out of there. I must have got some water in there when I pressure washed. Finally, good grief. Okay, so this is what our inlet looks like. And that stuff is not loose, it's mostly petrified. I mean, it's really hard, which is actually a good thing because we don't want all that loose stuff running off into the turbo. But if we look at the inlet, yeah, that looks good, doesn't it? That's about a 1/4 inch of mud just caked up around the turbine there. Thankfully, I did wiggle the shaft. There's no side to side or back and forth play. Turbo's probably fine. I can finally get to that hose clamp now. There we go. This line appears to be just a little bit bigger than it needs to be. You can tell by the way it's swollen. It just goes to show they were tightening the heck out of it so that it would seal. To get to those other rubber fuel lines, we're gonna have to remove what I believe this is an intercooler pipe. We're gonna have to remove this because I've seen a couple rubber lines in this area, and I think the AC compressor also needs to come off. So we're gonna remove this, remove that. Hopefully we can then change all of the rubber lines that are fuel related. Also do need to replace that coolant line that we took off there and clean the turbo out. Go. I'm gonna have to release the tension on the serpentine belt so we can take the AC compressor off. There we go. Okay. All right, there we go. Let's unplug this pressure sensor. Man, I got a bunch of other junk here. Housing is out. So in taking the thermostat housing off, we have located 2 more fuel lines. There's one here and there's one here. And there's also one buried way down here. And it's looking like we may need a new thermostat because this rubber piece seems to be broken on this one. This engine's got 2 thermostats. I hate replacing thermostats that are good because a lot of the times the new ones are actually faulty. Fuel system on diesels are very delicate. So before I remove this hose, I'm going to come in here with probably some starting fluid and spray all of this dirt and mud around the connections to the hoses. We do not want to get any dirt into the fuel system on this truck. So we've got some prefabbed hoses, just took them out of the packaging. And I'm gonna very carefully remove all of these hoses, which by the way, little pre-assessment, they are dry rotted. There's lots of cracking in them, so this could be our issue. There we go. Almost forgot I have these little caps that I can put over. There's one hose tucked in here, really hard to get to. Might need to take a grinder of these pliers because I can't really get these pliers in there. There we go. It'll spin. There it goes. Heck yeah. Dang, that one's kind of dry rotted too. Pretty much all these low pressure fuel hoses are dry rotted and cracking. All right, we're going down with our new one. Boom, on it. So that right there is a hose we're about to fish out of here. Come on. There it is. All right, here she is. Look at this. Man, my camera's not picking it up, but we do have more dry rotting. Okay, new line going in. Got one end on. All right, all of our low pressure fuel hoses are in. We do have a few more hoses. We've got the 90 coolant hose we need to throw in here. All right, we've got the recirculation and the out hose. These hoses are gonna run like this. There we go. This is our out hose here. Out of the filter into the CP3, to be specific. This isn't a very YouTube friendly engine bay. I can barely see what I'm working on. I can't imagine what y'all are seeing. So there's one more fuel line and it's right in there. Not this one, but it's behind it. This is the unfortunate downfall of owning any kind of modern diesel. The engine bays are so dang compact. Definitely a change from working on like old gas engines or even old diesels. Nowadays there's just so much going on. Finally, sets out. Goodness. To be completely safe, I just vacuumed some of the fuel out of that fuel rail because that fuel rail inlet is on the bottom and I popped it off first and I was struggling with the top one. So there's a good chance that a bunch of trash fell into the bottom inlet. I vacuumed it out just to make sure we don't have any dirt in there. Like I said, it doesn't take much to wreck these systems, especially when they have 349K. System may already be wrecked, I don't know yet. It's hard to get any kind of accurate info as long as we have air that's leaching into the system. Okay, here they go. One last look at some of the hoses we replaced. Look at how bad this one is. Look at that, it looks like a snake. If any one of these cracks are substantial enough on any of these hoses to cause an air leak, this Duramax will not run right. Diesel engines have to have a completely closed system. No air, nothing. So we've got the fuel hoses over here replaced. We've got the coolant line replaced there. We've got 2 or 3 fuel hoses we replaced here. And then we've got one fuel line way back here in the back that just got replaced. Now, while we're here, I'm gonna replace those thermostats because they're looking a little bit iffy. Also gonna replace the clutch fan and the serpentine belt. If you remember, when I picked this thing up, it sounded kind of like a semi-truck. I think maybe the clutch fan might be stuck, so we're gonna throw a new one on. Before we move on to anything else, I'm gonna bleed all of this air out of the fuel system. There it is. Thing's about rock solid now. Now I'm just gonna crack it one last time and hopefully push the air out. Okay, I think all the air is probably out now. Now let's remove this cover, take that clutch fan off, put a new clutch fan on, new belt, clean up our dirty parts, and then we can start putting this thing back together. Looks like the TCM is being held on by a drywall screw. Duramax! All right, there goes the TCM. And she's out. Heck yeah. Come on, your time's up. Served your time. Okay, geez. Here's the old belt. Now, it's not terrible, but it's not good. We've got some dry rot. Actually, I'm pretty glad I'm replacing this. Quite a bit of dry rot cracks. I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but... I hate to do it, but I might have to put this belt back on. Now I'm gonna go ahead and throw our brand new serpentine belt on. What that's gonna do is help hold this water pump pulley in place while we break this fan clutch off of here. Okay, whew. The new belt is on. It is nice and tight. Let's see if we can break this old clutch fan off of here. Dadgummit, dude. That belt's not helping at all. Usually getting this fan clutch off of this pulley is not this difficult. What I'm gonna do now is take the bracket off that holds this pulley onto the engine. Usually this is the water pump pulley, but in this case it is not. It is just a fan pulley. Once again, just pop the serpentine belt off here. There you go. Looks like we got one more bolt hiding. A little hard to get to. Let's try a ratchet. Dang, that one wasn't very tight at all. There it is. Should just pop right out of here now. We got a plug we need to take off of here. There it is. That could be a cam sensor plug there. Here she comes. Oh, I wonder if, I bet this wasn't made to come out of here with the fan still on. I think if we get rid of this idler pulley, we can pull this out of here in one piece. Come on. Okay, if we undo the AC compressor, it should come out. Okay, will this come out of here in one piece? There we go. Heck yeah. We're gonna break this clutch fan off of here, and the concept is very simple. A lot of you guys have been asking me, when is Deb coming back? Here she is. Only real fans know who Deb is. And I know what you're thinking. Deb looks like a really healthy girl, and she is. Deb is a big old girl. I think she's, yep, 48 inches. She likes to sit around and eat on the couch a lot, but when she does get out, she's a really big help, which makes sense because she's a really healthy girl. Let's see here. I need you now more than ever, Deb. Lock in. Bear, come help me. I need another hand. I need you to hold this pipe wrench. Here we go. Oh my gosh. This is insane. What in the world, man? Okay, here we go. I think I got it. Oh, yes, yes. 48-inch big girl and a huge pipe wrench. We finally broke it free. What a pain. I guess the heat helped a little, but I'm gonna give Deborah most of the credit. This is what winning looks like, people. Tell him, Bear, tell him. He's just so humble. Here it is. Here's the old clutch. We're gonna throw a new one on there, and hopefully this thing will not sound like a semi-truck anymore. What I mean by that is semi-trucks, they got big engines, they're very loud. They've got this huge radiator fan that just pushes so much air. It sounds like a dang airplane. See, this clutch fan is thermally activated. When it gets hot, when it gets to a certain temperature, there's a clutch plate that presses on the inside of this thing and it locks up the fan to the actual pulley. And sometimes these can fail in a way where the clutch is constantly activated and the fan is constantly turning at full speed. And that's what I think was happening with this truck, because when it was completely cold, I would turn it on and the thing would sound like it sounded like a dang helicopter. All of our parts are cleaned up. I also did a little bit more scrubbings on the engine bay. There was a lot more to clean than I expected. Once I took that fan off, it revealed all kinds of crud that was hiding down here in the engine compartment. That steering box there was so packed full of grease and dirt that I couldn't even tell that it was there. I don't know how well you guys can see through here, but there's like an 1/8 inch of crud just packed all over the frame and the body. You can see some of it I blasted off there, but there's only so much that you can reach in here with a pressure washer without tearing something up. Anyways, it's dirty, but it's a lot cleaner than it was. Let's start putting this thing back together. Put this little foam pad back in here. One last little torque on all these. Okay, now we got this little plug we need to put in here. Gotta put our idler pulley back on. Oh yeah. The new clutch is on the fan. Now it's time to drop this puppy in. Oh yeah. I'm gonna throw this AC compressor back into its place. All right, I'm gonna throw our serpentine belt back on. All right, now I gotta loosen this tensioner where I can get this belt to go over the alternator. Gosh. All right, I think we got it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all it really needs. You don't have to tighten it down to the point you need a cheater bar and a pipe wrench. Now I'm gonna clean this turbo as best as I can. I am gonna use a shop vac to kind of suck out whatever makes it past the fins. But first I wanna get rid of this really thick crud. That stuff is on there. Usually that super clean eats right through anything, but it's just barely softening this stuff up. I think this is about as good as I'm gonna be able to safely clean it. I'm gonna put that on there and see if I can't wash out this area a little bit more. Once again, it's not perfect, but it is much cleaner than it was before. We decided that we are going to replace these thermostats, and that's mainly just because this little seal is ripped here. One new thermostat, and number 2 new thermostat. Okay. I polished these 2 bolts up. I'm pretty sure these go inside of a water jacket, so I'm gonna put a little bit of thread sealer on here to help seal it up really good. This should also help the threads from corroding too badly. Bolt here, and then this bolt. Big thanks to Aaron Pierce and his family for sending me this and a bunch of other stuff. His kids actually drew me some really cool pictures. I'm gonna show them off in another video. Throw this pipe in here. It's been obvious the whole time, but I never really mentioned it. Someone has obviously been in here before. I've seen a couple little bitty bits and pieces that are missing, but the most notable thing is this terrible looking patch that's been welded into this pipe here. And not only that, but the Y bridge down there underneath the turbo has also been welded to the point that it's going to be really hard to take that Y bridge out if we ever have to. If we get this fixed and I find the truck is healthy, we'll probably be replacing this at some point. I'm throwing in a new air filter. Refrigerant pressure sensor, coolant temp sensor, and we can't forget our drywall screw that holds the TCM on. Yeah. Little summary, we replaced the fan clutch, we replaced the serpentine belt, we cleaned up the engine bay, and we also replaced all of the low pressure fuel lines. Now, despite pumping the priming bubble, we still probably have a whole lot of air in the fuel lines, at least on the recirculation side. So there is a possibility that this thing will probably start up, run fine, and then shut off. We may have to prime it a few more times to get the rest of the air out, because keep in mind that we took a vast majority of the fuel system apart. So there's a lot of air trapped in places we don't need air. Look at this. Give me another shake. Shake for the camera. Good boy. Just as I expected, we are probably gonna have to prime this system a few times, most likely. Yep, a whole lot of air came out of there that time. Okay, that's looking clean. Okay, that's solid. Good. We're gonna have to add some coolant because we lost coolant when we replaced those lines. Right now I'm just looking for any leaks. I don't see any coolant leaks. I'm also not seeing any in there. I'm not seeing any noticeable fuel leaks anywhere.
What you think, Bear? You think I fixed it? You think we fixed it?
I give you ball. Good boy. Seems to be running pretty good. It is still in a limp mode, so let's clear that code and see if we can drive it. Going through now and clearing all of the codes. All right, and after clearing all of the codes, we are left with the right front wheel speed sensor circuit is open. We have antenna, ground, shore, and GPS sensor circuit open. And that's it, no other active DTCs. Let's take her on another test drive. About that. So with the tuner turned all the way up, remember guys, we had a bad injector knock around 2,000 RPM. Seems like that's mostly gone away. It's really bad right here, and I no longer hear it. Heck yeah, brother. This thing is running good. Kind of quick.
Yeah, it kind of moves. I'm not gonna lie.
There seems to be something a little bit loose over here on the driver's side front end. Power steering pump doesn't feel the healthiest. What else is wrong with this thing that you can tell? Can you tell anything?
It's missing a door handle.
Missed it where? It's missing a door handle. Other than that, this engine seems to be really healthy.
Hey, that exhaust sounds pretty good.
It
don't
does. This is actually my first diesel pickup, believe it or not. I've never owned a diesel truck. Other than my wrecker, I own that. That's not a pickup. Overall, I think this truck has been a great investment. After replacing those low pressure fuel lines, this thing has been running a lot better. We no longer have any kind of injector knock. The reason we were having injector knock before is because those low pressure fuel lines were sucking air into the system, causing uneven dispersions through the injectors. So we were actually getting some really bad fuel knock. If it was injector knock, we would blame the injectors. We would have to identify that the injectors are faulty. Then we would call it injector knock. Say for example, the injectors were spraying too much fuel, they were leaking, or they were restricted and not putting enough fuel in the cylinder. That would be an injector knock. It's not the same thing, but they're in the same category and they're pretty close together. I meant to throw it in the video, but I was watching the injector balance rates, and what that is a representation of how much fuel the ECU is pulling away from the injectors or giving to the injectors. And before we replaced those fuel lines, they were all over the place. After replacing those fuel lines, I looked at them again, and I'll show you more of this in the next video on this truck. After looking again, they're all within GM spec now, so we do have healthy injectors and we probably have a healthy engine. A clean injector balance spread across all cylinders is a good sign. That tells us that this engine is likely extremely healthy, because if we had any cylinders with lesser compression than the average, we would likely see the ECU recognizing that and sending more fuel to those cylinders. In that case, it would likely throw the injector balance way out of range because it's trying to compensate for the fact that this cylinder is not making any power. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. We have a lot more work to do on this truck. Just so you know, I'm doing all I can to keep videos up that are worth watching. But I am going full-time on YouTube. Once that happens, these video uploads should get a lot more frequent. This is not some leap of faith. I've been living off YouTube revenue for the past 2 or 3 years now. It's just some other variables have gotten a lot more obvious to me that this is what I need to focus my time and energy to. I've also had quite a few compliments from large media companies and the individuals who run those companies. Some big YouTubers that probably a lot of you guys watch. And there's a correlation between these conversations I have with these companies and people. They're all kind of like, dude, why are you not full-time yet? And ultimately, I think I found that I was just too comfortable. That doesn't mean you're gonna start getting weekly videos just out of nowhere. It's definitely gonna take some time to kind of learn and build up to that point, because I want to keep my videos good. I don't want to just start posting a bunch of crap. So keep that in mind. But it will allow me the freedom to get more creative with my content and do some things that I couldn't do with a scheduled clock in, clock out time at a job. So yeah, something to look forward to. One more thing. This and its brother came in the other day. It is aluminum. If you know what this goes to, then more power to you, but they're here, so we'll get going on that here pretty soon. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.